What's up, everybody? My name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon in the crypto universe. Today is Tuesday, September 24th. In today's video, we want to talk about Bitcoin digital assets such as Ordinals and runes. Now, both of these markets are booming right now, but I want to share with you some of the highlights, some of these collections in the Ordinals side, and also some of the rune tokens that I'm really spotting other than dog that I really want you to pay attention to. Because if Bitcoin is going to rally into new all-time high prices, then you're going to see Bitcoin DeFi, especially digital assets that are built on top of Bitcoin, skyrocket as well. So I want to share with you really early on before these things do pump so that you can get early access if you're speculating or wanting to make that risk as an investment. So with that said, none of this is financial advice. It's just my own opinion and just for your own entertainment. So please do your own due diligence before buying into any of these Ordinals or runes. So with that said, go ahead and smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join our Patreon page. And most importantly, please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I will never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email. So please be careful and invest safely. So guys and girls, let's get right into it. So the very first thing that we're going to focus on are the Ordinals, aka the NFTs of Bitcoin. Now, there's a few things I just want to point out. Number one is that why Ordinals? A long time ago, Elon Musk said something around NFTs and how they're kind of not even on the blockchain. They are actually built on a URL. So if the business of that hosted website that uses your URL to create the image, what if that goes down? Well, that means your image is gone. But the great thing around Bitcoin Ordinals is that all the artwork is on chain, not on a website. And that's why Ordinals stand out the most. So I want to share with you some of the lower cap prices of these Ordinal collections, and then at the very end we're going to reach into the higher price entry points for Ordinals. So the very first one I want to talk to you about is something that's fairly new, and that's called Taproot Witches. Now, Taproot Witches just came out with their mint just within the week. Now they're hovering around a $400 to $500 price point, and that's actually pretty good. Now people have been speculating, is this just a derivative of Taproot Wizards, which is another collection that hopefully is coming up very soon. We've been waiting over a year for that collection, but until then we have Taproot Witches. This is a female BFP collection. Now when I'm looking at the amount of unique holders or owners compared to the total supply, I think it's actually quite fair to see almost 2,000 holders to 3.3 thousand of these specific Bitcoin Ordinals. So to me, I say this is not really a bad way to have some exposure to Ordinals. It's the most cost-effective entry point. There has been a lot of hype around this mint. It actually hasn't dipped that much. The mint price was $90. So the fact that it's even $400, this is not at a loss. So at least somebody should at least have one of these in their portfolio. I mean, this could be one of the collections that's underrated and it's going to boom the next cycle. So that's why I say pay attention to Taproot Witches. This is something I think I want to get exposure in. Now the next one's a little bit pricier. This one's called Bitcoin Frogs. Now Bitcoin Frogs is roughly around a $3,000 price point. Yes, $3,000 for each one. Before there was even Quantum Cats, before there was even Ordinal Maxi Biz or even Node Monkeys, there was Bitcoin Frogs, okay? When Bitcoin Punks came out, Bitcoin Frogs was there as well. So to me, Bitcoin Frogs was one of the OG collections, one of the very first collections on the Bitcoin Ordinal network. And so to me, I feel like right now, Bitcoin Frogs hasn't experienced its massive pump yet. It's 3,000 right now. And don't worry, I'm going to show you the other price points of other collections a little bit later. But this to me seems like a great deal. Now, for me, I would look for something that has an orange background, kind of symbolizing somewhat of the Bitcoin Ordinal space. You know, Bitcoin is orange, so that kind of makes sense. But this is a really well represented PFP collection. So I definitely say look into this as much as possible if you can. Next up I want to talk about is Pizza Ninjas. Now Pizza Ninjas went from $6,000 all the way to $10,000 this morning. And you must be wondering, wow, that's way too much money. There's no way I'm going to spend that amount of money. You cannot forget that all these specific digital assets that are built on Bitcoin have exposure to Bitcoin, meaning people can either buy, sell, or trade in Bitcoin. That's the advantage of Bitcoin Ordinals. Pizza Ninjas hasn't experienced its one Bitcoin floor price just yet. Many of these other collections that I've shared in previous videos have, such as Ordinal Maxi Biz and Node Monkeys, but Pizza Ninjas has never experienced its first Bitcoin floor price. Now look at the chart overall. This is one of the healthiest charts I've ever seen in the Bitcoin Ordinal space. Look at this. It went from an initial pump all the way up to around close to $11,000, and now we're close to back around that price point. The reason I shared this with you is because we've actually seen a retracement in Bitcoin Ordinals in this recent bear market, but it did not affect Pizza Ninjas. It's mainly due to its supply and unique holder ratio. See this? 1.2 thousand holders compared to the amount of supply, which is 1.5 thousand. So to me, there is a great amount of diamond hands and content creators, but this is one of the OG collections that I feel is going to lead in this dominant bull run for Bitcoin Ordinals. And most importantly, the founder and the team, they throw amazing events around the world at major Bitcoin events and also Ordinal and Rune events as well. I would say get one of these if you can. I personally have one as my PFP and I am diamond handing it as we speak. So definitely look into Pizza Ninjas if you want to be a part of an amazing community. Now, the last collection, which is the most priciest one, but reaching a lot of headlines, is Node Monkeys. Now, Node Monkeys is a very controversial collection, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. Now, what you need to know is that the two founders, quote unquote, we don't know if there's two or one of founders, but there's two founders with two different wallets that own 10% of the supply. So each one owns around 500 Node Monkeys in each wallet. So that's why I really want you to pay attention to that, because I don't know if that's really risky, really scary, or just completely speculative at this point. But nonetheless, this price of this specific Ordinal collection went from $5,000 all the way up to $13,000, all within a span of a week and a half. That's how crazy this space is. So the reason I want you to pay attention to this is because it's supposedly the first 10K collection on Bitcoin Ordinals because of its inscription, as you can see here. But not just the first 10K, it's the first 10K original artwork that's on Bitcoin Ordinals. But what I will say is that the price point is very high. If you're buying into this collection right now, then you're buying into the FOMO. But what's really interesting is that this is the top 5 collection across all different blockchains. And we're from the 10th spot all the way up to the 5th spot. So this is getting close to maybe being the second place below CryptoPunks, if it's going to get there, but it is in the top 5 across all blockchains. So another thing I want to share with you, which is a little bit fishy, someone took advantage of this dip when Node Monkeys was at $5,000. So they bought a whole bunch and then decided to list all of them at around 0.22, which is around the $13,000 price point. And that's this person right here, Chainsplit, who bought 49 of them. So make sure when you buy into this collection that you're not exit liquidity for somebody else. Only buy if you're holding on for long-term conviction, but I can't promise you the price is going to go down or up for this collection. All right, let's move on to Bitcoin runes. Now, the runes ecosystem has not boomed yet. I'm warning you, this ecosystem has not experienced its bull run yet. Now, there are many different specific runes that you could look into, but before we get into that, look at the total market cap. It's $679 million, not billion, $million. We saw that in the last bull market for runes, it was above $2 billion. So right now, any of these specific rune tokens that you're wanting to get into is right now the best time to get exposure into. So I want to share with you some of my favorite ones that I'm looking into, but I haven't bought into any of them except for one. Now let's focus on the first one, and that is decentralized. Now, why am I bringing up decentralized? Well, decentralized was created by an Ethereum-based team. They created an Ordinal collection called Untitled, and they also started their own rune token called decentralized. Now it's rune etch number 2. Now the reason I'm saying paying attention to this, because even though there's a lot of FUD around it, yeah, the founders left the project and left the decentralized rune token in the hands of the community, but that could be your advantage, right? Some people were fading Node Monkeys, but people bought in. So maybe this is that time where you actually get exposure to this because it's rune number 2, and that's basically it. That's all I can say. There's no promise of this token creating utility. There's just a meme that's coming out of this as well. So really, the only benefit is that it's rune number 2, and I actually do like the name decentralized with a low market cap of only $4 million. So this to me has the potential to do really well. We just don't know what that's gonna look like. So that's why I pay attention to decentralized. That's maybe a possible rune token that could do really well. So next up I wanna talk about is $1 billion cat, also known as Billy. Now this is etched way further on. It's 72,000, so it's much later on in terms of etching, but nonetheless their community is very strong. Their market cap is 25 million. Now when you're looking at the overall chart, it's actually experienced its very bottom at around 12.9 sats all the way up to 39.79, so that's actually pretty good in my opinion, and that's all the community right there. So I would say pay attention to this token because they are making their presence very known within the Bitcoin rune space and all across crypto Twitter, and it seems to be very fun. I like what they're doing, and to me it's just one of those really rare communities that just sticks around even during a bear market. All right, moving on to the next token, and that's going to be Pups World Peace. Now, Pups World Peace is related to the Bitcoin Puppets. Now, Bitcoin Puppets is another Bitcoin Ordinal collection, but I'm not going to cover it in this video because I've covered it in another video video before, but they also have their own token. Now this used to be our BRC20 token, but recently migrated over to runes. Now everybody is focusing on this specific price because it is pretty low. 78 sats when its all-time high was around 350. Its market cap 50 million. So to me, this has the potential to get up there to new all-time highs. That's why I really want you to pay attention to what's going on, because if their Bitcoin ordinal community is doing really well and their presence is known, maybe their token will as well. So pay attention to pups if you can. Last but not least, I have to bring up one of my favorite tokens of all time, and that is Dog Go to the Moon. I've talked about this token almost religiously on our channel because I see what's going on with this narrative. You already know what it's all about. You love the token supply, you love the amount of unique holders growing, you love the market cap. It's literally the #1 meme coin across all blockchains, and it has a market cap of 267 million. This has the potential to reach over $5 billion in this next bull run, and we're only at 267 million. It's because all these different runes have direct access to Bitcoin's $1.2 to $1.3 trillion market cap, and everybody's expecting that the Bitcoin market cap is going to reach above $2 trillion. So imagine how much liquidity, if just 1% of that goes into Bitcoin runes, and even 0.5% goes into Dog Go to the Moon. This would go above $5 billion for sure. So as in conclusion and statement, what did you think around my favorite choices in terms of Bitcoin ordinals? And also in terms of Bitcoin runes, what did you think of my favorites that I recommended? Is there one that I did not bring up? Well, if you leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts, I cannot wait to read them. We'll include it in our next video. So as always, be sure to smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join our Patreon page to receive all of our alpha calls and trades regarding Bitcoin runes and Bitcoin ordinals. Until then, see you guys and girls next time.